I got laid off from the big auto plant, middle-aged guy with no other real skills. The only job I could get was managing the stockroom at some small manufacturing company. First day, I spotted it in the corner, a huge machine covered in dust. It was a top-of-the-line imported precision tool worth over $500,000 just sitting there like junk. A coworker laughed. Don't bother. The boss spent a fortune on it, brought in 8 different experts and nobody could get it running. It is basically an expensive paperweight. Now, I walked over and ran my hand along the frame. I can fix this. The whole shop went quiet. The boss heard the noise and came over. He looked me up and down like I was trash. You fix it and I'll give you half my company. You can't and you'll be paying me back for the rest of your life. The air was hot and smelled like oil and metal dust. Everyone was staring at me like I was insane. The boss, Rick Thorne, guy in his 40s, getting fat, wearing gold-rimmed glasses, pushed through the crowd. He sized me up, eyes going from my faded work shirt down to my beat-up steel-toed boots. Then he looked at my hands, all calloused and scarred. You, he snorted. John Carter, right? HR said you used to manage a warehouse at the old GM plant. I was a senior technician. I said not loud but clear. Senior technician Eric acted like I just told the best joke ever. He laughed so hard his belly shook. Everyone else started laughing too. A senior technician working in a stockroom. Come on, Carter, that is not even a good lie. I am not lying. I looked him in the eye. I can fix it. I looked past him at the machine in the corner, a German DMG Mori 5-axis machining center, white casing covered in grime like a forgotten piece of art. My chest tightened. It felt like seeing an old friend again. Rick stopped laughing. His face got hard. All right, fine. He clapped his hands. I've got 20 engineers working here. I've spent over 70 grand on 8 so-called experts and not one of them had the guts to say what you just said. He got right in my face, finger almost touching my nose, and you some new stockroom guy. You are telling me you can fix it. Yeah, I didn't back down. Done, he threw his arm out. Let's make a bet right here. Right now. You get this machine running, I'll give you half. This company will sign papers, make it official. Everyone gasped, half the company. That is millions. Rick's eyes went mean. But if you can't fix it, or if you break it worse. He gritted his teeth. This machine cost me 500 grand. You'll be working for me for the rest of your life to pay it off. Dead silence. Even the fans seemed to stop, boss. Don't waste your time on this idiot, the shop foreman said. Yeah, Rick. He is just showing off. Rick ignored them, eyes locked on mine. You in or out? I thought about my wife, Sarah. Pale, thin. Her medication had already drained our savings. My daughter just got into college. She needed money bad. I'd been laid off, thrown away like garbage. This skill I had was all I had left. Dignity, it doesn't pay bills, but I was burning inside, needing to prove them all wrong. I am in, I said. Rick smiled nastily. Good, you've got guts. He turned and yelled at his assistant, Mark, get the contract. No, make it a betting agreement. I am going to teach this guy a lesson about running his mouth. A few minutes later, a paper still worn from the printer got slapped down in front of me. Equipment repair betting. Party, Rick Thorne. Party B, John Carter. Simple terms, if John Carter fixes the DMG 5-axis machining center. Party A transfers 50 of company shares. If repair fails or causes more damage, John Carter pays the full value, $500,000. And I mean it. About you paying me back forever, Rick said, lighting a cigarette. Smoke curled around his face. If you can't pay, you are my slave. I'll be sure to take good care of your wife and kid too. It was a threat, plain and simple. The other workers gathered around whispering, he is crazy. He is actually going to sign it. How is he ever going to pay that back? He is throwing his life away. Serves him right for being a loudmouth. I picked up the pen. It hung over the paper for a second. I remembered my wife that morning, grabbing my hand, worried, Joan, don't push yourself too hard. Your health matters. More will get by. I remembered my daughter's excited voice. Dad, I got a scholarship. It'll help you and Mom. I couldn't fail. I had to win. I signed my name, John Carter. After I finished, I looked up at Rick, boss. I need an advance 3 months salary. Rick stared at me shocked. Then he burst out laughing even louder than before. Ha, you haven't even started working and you are already asking for money, you son of a. He caught himself looking disgusted. Fine, you want it. You got it. He had the accountant bring cash and slammed it on the table in front of everyone. $200 bucks. Go buy your wife her medicine. The bills scattered everywhere, sliding under machines. Everything went quiet. All I could hear was blood rushing in my ears. Humiliation cut through me like a knife. I bent down silently with everyone watching. I picked up the money one bill at a time. I smoothed out the wrinkles from the dirty bills, folded them nine-nine, and put them in my shirt pocket right over my heart. A young woman behind Rick, maybe early 20s, in a white dress, frowned his daughter, Lisa. I didn't look at anyone. I turned and walked straight to the machine. My back was straight. She is mine now. I walked slowly around the DMG machine, like I was checking on an old friend. The others had gone back to work, but I could feel them watching, waiting to see the clown make a fool of himself. Lisa stayed. She stood nearby, arms crossed, looking skeptical. I need a tool set, I told her. She raised an eyebrow. What kind? The stockroom's full of tools. Go get them yourself. I shook my head and rattled off some German words. I had a complete Garniturwunder, Hoffman Group, Tremmen Schlüssel, Satz, fine, messed Robin. Lisa's expression froze. She only caught bits, but the authentic German pronunciation caught her off guard. What did you say? I switched to English. A German-made Hoffman Group tool set, 16-piece socket set, torque wrench, and precision micrometers. They came with the machine when the factory was set up. Should be in a silver metal case. The shop foreman, an old guy named Dave, snorted. Hey Carter, who do you think you are? We don't have anything like that. You do? I said calmly. Stockroom second row, third box from the top. Should have a label that says ersatz tightly. Dave's face changed. Ersatz's Tyler was German for spare parts. The label was there, but almost nobody in the factory knew what it meant. Lisa's eyes lit up. She turned to the foreman. Dave, go check. Dave, muttering about how I was just guessing, took 2 workers to the stockroom. A few minutes later, they came back carrying a dusty silver case. Looking shocked, they opened it. Inside in red velvet was a brand new set of German tools, gleaming and still oiled. Dave's face went from red to white and back. A few people gasped. The way Lisa looked at me completely changed. I ignored them. I put on reading glasses from my pocket and took out a long, thin metal rod, a mechanic stethoscope. I didn't open any panels or connect diagnostic equipment. I placed one end of the rotogaines, the machine's main spindle. Then I bent down and pressed the other end to my ear. I closed my eyes. It was like an old doctor listening to a sick patient. What a show-off. Who was he trying to fool? A young worker whispered. Yeah, thinks he is some kind of machine whisperer. He is going to diagnose it just by listening. Lisa frowned, confused by what I was doing. I heard none of it. My world shrank to just me and this machine. I could hear the subtle sounds inside, the weird friction between gears, the tiny jerky movement of the guide rails, the faint popping of air bubbles in the lubrication line. To anyone else, just noise. To me, it was a complete diagnostic report. For 10 minutes, I didn't move. Then I straightened up and took off my glasses. I reached out and ran my fingers over the cold seams of the guide rail saggin. And again, my fingers could feel the microscopic problems. Well, Lisa finally broke the silence. Her voice had lost the earlier contempt. I turned to face her, Rick and the other workers who gathered around. I gave my diagnosis. It is not electrical. It is the XE-axis drive module. It got hit hard during shipping or installation. That caused permanent damage to the mechanical precision. I estimate at least 50 microns off the statement. Hit like a bomb. Lisa's eyes went wide. She rushed to a desk, dug through papers, and pulled out a report. But the report from those 8 experts said it was a main control chip overload and burnout drive circuit board. Failure needs complete motherboard and servo system replacement. The report showed main control chip failure in bold red with a repair quote of $150,000. I glanced at the report and smiled coldly. They were wrong. How can you be so sure? Lisa pressed. I pointed to a hex bolt on the machine's base. This bolt is a reference point for leveling at the factory. Its torque spec is super strict, less than 0.1 Newton meters tolerance. I gave the bolt a gentle twist, but this bolt's torque is wrong. It has been retightened and by an amateur. They didn't recalibrate I-tand. They destroyed the stress balance of the whole base. That is the real problem. As for the electrical alarms, I paused. That is just the system protecting itself. The mechanical error is overloading the servo motors. The workshop went dead silent. Everyone stared at me like I was an alien. A stockroom managing only his ears and hand had just proven 8 professors with fancy equipment wrong. It was unbelievable. Rick's face was a mess of emotions, doubt, and shock. Lisa was floored. A last bit of contempt in her eyes vanished, replaced by pure amazement. Talk is cheap, Rick said grimly. You said you can fix it, so fix it. I don't care what you heard or felt. I just want results. All right. I took off my outer shirt down to my gray tank top. From the Hoffman tool set, I grabbed a few odd-shaped tools. No blueprints, no manual. I started taking apart the core drive system. Every movement had a rhythm. Which screw to loosen, how much force, which part to remove, what order. Like I'd done it 1,000 times. My scarred hands moved smooth as a dancer. The workers watching for entertainment went quiet. He is just pretending it'll be hilarious when he can't put it back together. Yeah, this is German engineering. You can't mess with it without a manual. But slowly the mocking stopped. Everyone shut up. Their faces went from amused to silent to surprised to awed. To these trained eyes, what I was doing was impossible. It was beyond technique, it was art. Lisa found a thick German repair manual somewhere. She flipped through frantically, eyes darting between the book and my hands. Her mouth fell open. Oh my God, your procedure, she stammered. It is in the manual emergency calibration for extreme conditions, but my professor in Germany said this was just theory, that nobody could actually do it.